Alright, so today we're going to talk about IMAP and DNS. This is for ISA 4220 System Security 2. Now we're going to go over some of the application tools. One we'll be using is Dovecot. It's an open source POP3 and IMAP email server for Linux systems, which provides security and allows mail user agents to access their email. And it has a local delivery agent that oversees storing user emails. We'll also be using Bind or Berkeley Internet Naming Daemon. It's also an open source software that allows users to publish DNS information online and lets us resolve DNS queries for users. And we'll also be talking about IIS, which is Internet Information Server. This was designed by Microsoft to serve as an extensible web server for Windows, and it's used to request HTML pages and accept and return requests from client computers. So now we're going to talk a little bit about IMAP, which stands for Internet Message Access Protocol. It allows you to view your email that's on the server from multiple devices. It syncs your inbox, your sent emails, drafts, and any other custom folders that you may have created. And when you view your email on any of those devices, the email would be exactly the same since everything is synchronized. The emails are kept on the server and it caches local copies of the email onto all of your devices and synchronizes all of your folders and everything that is in them. IMAP can be configured in your email client in the incoming server settings. And because all the email is stored on the mail server, you'll see all your emails, including sent items, drafts, deleted items, or any custom folders. The only disadvantage about using IMAP is that you're not able to view emails without an internet connection. And IMAP only caches local copies of the email on your device instead of downloading them. So the best practices for hardening IMAP, first you want to enable SSL IMAPs. It's just the secure version of IMAP. And you also want to archive and delete old emails just to clean up space. And you also want to use block lists, which will flag any suspicious emails, which can be problematic at times because they may contain spam or phishing emails. And you also want to configure port 993, and this port is used by IMAPs, which means your data will be encrypted and more secure. So now we're going to talk about DNS, which stands for Domain Name System, and the DNS resolves domain names to IP addresses. So when you go to a web browser, the DNS will sort out the names to numbers since it's the language that computers speak by converting these names to an IP address. The computer will search through the resolver server to acquire the matching IP address for that domain name, and once it's been found, it will resolve the domain name to an IP address for the web browser. The resolver server is used to check the database cache memory to find the appropriate IP address and allows the computer to communicate with the web server to retrieve the desired web page. If the computer can't find the IP address, it will send out a query to the root server, which is at the next level. The root server is at the top of the pyramid of the DNS hierarchy, and there are 13 sets of these root servers that are placed around the world and are operated by 12 different organizations, and they each have their own unique IP address. Once the root server has received the query, it will not know what to do with the IP address, but it will know where to direct the resolver to find that particular IP address. It will then direct the resolver to the highestlevel.com domain server, which is also referred to as the TLD server or top level domain. And the TLD communicates with the resolver and gives it the IP address, and it stores that information for the TLD, which includes .com, .net, and .org. Now, if the TLD server still can't find the IP address, the resolver server will be directed to the authoritative name server, which is the final level, and it knows everything about the domains and IP addresses. When the resolver receives the IP address, it will store it in its cache memory in case it receives another query for that website, so it doesn't have to go through every single step. Now, the best practices for hardening DNS first will be to hide the primary server. The DNS server contains the master copy of any zones and should be hidden, and it should only serve the data to secondary name servers, which is not listed as a name server for any zone and should not be accessible to any user. You should also ensure cluster server. This will make the DNS server continuously available for any resource. And you should also disable the DNS recursion. This prevents cache poisoning. It will redirect other sites other than the one that you intend on visiting, and you should also provide the bare minimum functions for the DNS. So the DNS server and DNS data will be restricted to internal access, while public servers will be authoritative. Alright, so this concludes the video, and I hope you guys found it informative. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.